Hey, come on in, guys. Y'all come in, hit the like button, please. Throw your like number in the chat. I've got to mute the screen behind me. I don't even want to because there's some things going on. Like the world has gone bananas. The world has gone bananas. Y'all come in, please. Thumbs up this video. Please thumbs up this video. Thank you, thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thumbs up the video, throw your like number in the chat. Do not forget to use your engagement button, the circle with the emoji at the bottom. Send the bubbles up, let them know we're here. Okay. Let them know we are indeed here. Let me greet who's in the building. Things are happening. Oh my gosh. Whew. Let me just greet everybody because I just got so much to say. It's like I hate when I have too much to say because then it won't just all come out. Like I want it to all come out, but it won't just all come out. So let me say hello. Auntie Eva, you're here. Thank you for being like number one. You and Jackie hit it at the same time. Glad y'all are here. Debbie Garcia. Hey sis. How you doing? Thank you for being number 4. Thank you. God's anointed daughter is in the house. How you doing? Thank you for being like number 2. I appreciate you. Patricia Robinson. Hey girl. How you doing? Thank you for being like number 7. Maybelline Roberts. Maybelline Reynolds. Ooh, hit myself in the mouth. Maybelline Reynolds. I did not mean to try to mix your name up with Patricia's. How you doing, girl? Thank you for being like number 8. Happy to be happy. I'm so happy you made it. Thank you so much for being number 7. Good afternoon to you. Quiet Storm 87 is in the house. Thank you for being number 9. The beautiful Bianca Edwards. Y'all see her. She here. She here. And she's telling y'all to hit the like button. Please, please, please get your water, your headphones. We may laugh a couple times, a time or 2, time or 3. Have your sneezes prepared if you are still in the office. Again, I repeat, we may laugh a time or 2 or a time or 3. Please have your sneezes, your pre-recorded sneezes prepared if you're still in the office, okay? Not your twins mama in the house. Thank you for being number 10. Appreciate you. BJ Des, you made it in. Hey girl. How are you? How are you? Who else we got up in here? I don't want to miss nobody before I start running my big old mouth. Miss Kaiser Sose, hey, how you doing? Lala! Hey, darling, how are you? Vita had to snatch her crown back. Vita, good looking out, girl. Don't let them take your crown because they will snatch a crown around here. They will snatch a girl's crown. Miss Sparkle is here. Hey y'all, it's our resident Mary Kay lady. How you doing, sis? She back off her cruise now. Now that she through cruising, she can hang with us. Mm-hmm. Hey sis, glad to see you. Delicia Dismuke, hi, how are you? Love you, girl. Ashley is here. Ashley, she is number 15. I'm so glad to see you. My Angie, she working and listening. How you doing? Good to see you. Miss Nisi is in the house. Thank you for being number 15. I appreciate you. I do. Miss Kaiser so say thank you for being number 11. I appreciate you. We got Magaline, my good sis. How you doing? Thank you for being number 22. You and Patricia Walking, Miss Tampa hit it at the same time. What? Okay. DS in the house. Y'all know it's about to be lit. I love me some DS. Thank you for being number 24. SFF, thank you so much for being number 22. I appreciate you. Zaline is here. What's up, sis? How you doing? Thank you for being 25. Edna Crowder, good to see you. I'm glad you caught alive too. I am. We got to talk about this. Like things were said, things happened. Hey, Anna, how are you? So good to see you as always. All right. Oh, my cool gamer. Always cool. Always in the doggone building. I love cool gamer. Your energy is cool. You're really you're just naturally, even through the internet, you just come off cool, and I appreciate you for it. I love you for it. Hey, LaPriest, how you doing? Good to see you. I know that's right, Vita. Now I am here. Hello, love me some Vita. So look, first of all, we got to talk about this interview Monique just did with Shannon Sharp over on Club Shay Shay. Let me just say, um, wait, Ashley said, I think we've all had our crown snatched at least once, and that makes me want to pull up at headquarters. At headquarters, yes. I feel like they do it on purpose to Black creators at a certain point. I do know sometimes things are legit. Like sometimes you could change a credit card, or a card can get lost or stolen, or it can expire and you got to replace the card with a new card. Like stuff happens. Not discounting that. Stuff happens. But a lot of times, like I notice it's a lot of funny business. Like I pay attention to metrics, I do to a certain degree, and I pay attention to what's happening. And I noticed like almost every month there's a huge number of people who have to get their crown back. Like literally, it's not one or two people, it's a lot of people almost every month. If I go look, they have to go get their crowns back. I'm like, what is up with y'all, YouTube? Like I know I'm like real black, like I'm blackity black, but y'all ain't gotta act like that with me. I follow y'all rules. I really do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but it's okay. If y'all see your crown snatched or whatever, then we just gotta snatch that mug back. Okay. So look, Monique interviewed with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay. It was something. Let me just say that. It was something. Um, Not the same caliber, and I'm not trying to do a compare and contrast. It was not the same caliber of a table shaking as the Cat Williams, not even close. But I was pleasantly surprised, and we're gonna get into it. Quiet Storm 87 say, I don't know if it's YouTube or Apple, but sometimes I have to manually make them charge me. They do that. And if you don't, they'll just, let it drop. I don't know who's responsible either. Hey Kashari, how you doing? Thank you for being like number 41. Y'all, please listen, before we go any further with this, like this video. I know I'm wrong. I know I didn't set this live up 30 minutes in advance. I know I didn't. But I'm begging you all, as my family, help me out by hitting the like button, engage, talk. I don't care what you tell me, even if it's something crazy. Use your engagement button, send the bubbles up, let the people know we're here. Share the video in case you know somebody else might want to talk about. Still going through it with the yawns. If you know somebody else might want to talk about the same topic, or if you know somebody else is at work and they got to get through the last couple of hours of their shift too, share the video. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Like we have fun in here, and y'all know for a fact we treat everybody like family. Ain't nobody gonna get mistreated over here. We respect everybody. We love everybody. So please like the video, share the video, engage with the video. And please, as you like the video, put your like number in the chat. And if this is your first time being here, please in the chat, let us know. Put first time live or FTL so we can welcome you. Okay. That's all I'm saying. So back to this interview with Shannon Sharp. It was interesting because Vita, thank you for being like number 47. It was interesting to me because I didn't think it was gonna be good. I didn't. And it wasn't anything like a slight toward Monique. It wasn't like that. It was one, it's the feeling of you thinking you know what she's gonna say. It's like we already know her story, so to speak. Much like we knew Cat Williams' story, but if I'm being honest, oh, Nisa, you recovering from your foot surgery. All right. Glad to hear it. I thought I knew what she was gonna say. I thought I understood enough of her story that it was like, okay, this is not gonna be interesting. Y'all, this ain't working. I gotta get some water. Hold on. No, for real. I gotta do something because the constantly feeling like because I was told, and I got to research it to see how true it is, but I was told that yawning is literally like your brain needing more oxygen. And so you're compensating by actually yawning. So I don't know whether that's really what that is, but I know it's getting bad. And what I know even more than that is that I'm not tired. So y'all say a little prayer for me and I'd appreciate it. Nene Ashley, thank you for being number 50. So I really thought I thought that I knew, you know, that's what you get for thinking. I thought that I knew and understood what Monique was gonna have to say. Okay. It was awesome to me too. I'm just saying, like, I did not expect it. I'm being honest. I'm being honest, sis. I didn't expect it. It was unexpected to me. Um, Out of respect for her, I was definitely going to sit through it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had it in my mind that I was going to sit through. How you doing, Miss Thelma? Oh, there go my peanut. Her number 53. Hey, Mama Peanut. Um, I had it in my mind that I was going to sit through that interview, whether it was interesting or not, out of respect for her and what she had to say. Because I feel like I would have been dead wrong not to respect where she's coming from. She was not treated fairly. I knew that much already. Okay. If we're being real, I was already fully aware that Monique had not been treated fairly, not just by industry people. I knew that our community had not dealt fairly with Monique. Now, you know, let's wake it up. I knew that our folks did not deal fairly with Monique. So I was absolutely going to sit through that interview either way. But I will tell you this, I had made up my mind like, oh Lord, well, you know, I got to sit through this, but I was going to do it because anybody who knows anything about me, y'all know I believe in right and wrong. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And I feel like when someone has been wronged and they're a part of us, I feel like we owe a certain responsibility to put our support behind them. If for no other reason, so that you're on the right side of history and you can look back and say, okay, even if I wasn't, you know, all into it or whatever, like I put my support there. And I felt like support and respect doesn't have to have an entertainment value. That's just my opinion. Okay. Because y'all know how I am. I'm silly. I'll tell a joke in a minute. But y'all know when it come down to it, Nitra is bliggity, bliggity black. Okay. Y'all know this. Okay. Brad's doll, thank you for being number 57. So, you know, just out of respect, out of responsibility, out of support, I was going to listen anyway. Hey, Miss Gigi, thank you for being number 54. Y'all remember to please like this video. Please engage. Send up your bubbles. Even if it's like a thumbs down bubble, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Just engage. That way, at least I know, you know, if I'm on the right track or if I done said something that I ought not to be done said. You know, let me know. So, anywho, um, the interview started much like a lot of them started. Hey, Jim Bunny. And it was the intros and him announcing her accolades and all that stuff. And I'll be honest, at that point, I was half watching. Once I finished watching the interview, I literally had to go back and rewatch the intro because I'm being very honest and candid when I tell you I was literally half in, half out. I was. I was on the phone with Peanut at that time. She was on her lunch break when it started. And so I was half in, half out. You know, the accolades were legit. You know, every one of them. You can't take anything from this lady. She has an incredible body of work. And I gotta give Shannon Sharp his due too. You know, I'm not his biggest fan, but he is entertaining, and I do like him at times. But I gotta give him his due when it comes to his platform. Hey, Sin City from NOLA. Um, I I've come around to his form of interviewing because it's not really interviewing. He did say that it was a conversation, and I like that. I'm coming to like. I've come around to the fact that the conversational style of interview, it's unique, it's niche, it's very niche, and I like it. I like it. It got very conversational very fast. I thought it was very nice of her and very cool of her to acknowledge the fact that and give him his props for not beating the piss out of Skip Bayless. I say, well, all right. She sees things the way I see it. Them ladies from Baltimore, they're a different type. It's a different type of girl. So it was cute to me to see her do that, to see things get conversational really, really early. The first part of the interview, to me, after that, it was a lot of niceties. It was a lot of preachy, roundabout talk. And I really thought at that point, I thought that was setting the tone for what we were in for. And so, like I said, I had to go back and re-listen to the top of that interview. And while she was doing that, I got to be honest. In the very beginning of the interview, I didn't feel how genuine, she could normally be. The preachy stuff, the truth and the repercussions and this and that. And I was like, okay, I guess she's just, going to make general statements. Didn't know how to take it, right? Journey B, hi. You headed to bed. I forgot you over in the UK. Sweet dreams. Thank you. What'd you say, Peanut? You say Shannon does a good job with getting everybody comfortable. He does. And it may have something to do with that Laportier cognac. I don't know, but it might. It might. And the talking in circle stuff, I really didn't take a lot of notes on that. I didn't know honestly, I didn't know where she was going with it. Glad we got past all the talking in circles and tell the truth. And there's, the fact that Steve Harvey told her there are repercussions when you tell the truth. And that growing up, we were told if you don't tell the truth, there's repercussions, and now everything's been flipped. And that's all true. Like, I'm not saying she didn't say anything that wasn't true, but in the beginning, I felt like she hadn't really dug in yet. She hadn't dug in yet. Hey, Krista Jones. Okay, all right. We're going to keep you company on the ride. Don't be typing while you're driving now. Hey, M. Guerrero, thank you for being number 67. I appreciate it. So we get past that, and to me, we start to get into things, okay? So she talked about, the fact that when she did get to Hollywood, she was there for 3 months. What she did not mention at the very beginning was the fact that while she was in Baltimore, she actually owned a comedy club by the name of Monique's. She mentioned that later on in the interview. But she was, kind of giving a nod to the fact that Cat Williams had called Kevin Hart an industry plant because he really didn't have, the same body of work, and they're less than a year with a movie and a sitcom or whatever. And she said she was there for 3 months and ended up on the Parkers. And she mentioned the fact that, because Shannon Sharp was trying to, I guess, not play devil's advocate, because I really hate that term. Nobody has to advocate for Lucifer. That punk advocates for himself. He got enough flunkies. But, kind of playing the role of letting her know what a naysayer would say, and kind of like, what people might be like, well, Monique, you went through all that, but you still ended up here, or, could it really be that bad if you turned out this great and you ended up in this position and you're doing this good? Hey, Ray all day. And so she was just like, letting him know, like, you remember when you first got in the NFL, you were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and them eyes got less and less bright once you started to see exactly what it was, and was just talking about how you start putting the pieces to the puzzle together and realizing that though that first check might be more money than you ever seen in your life, later on you find out that while it was more than you had ever seen in your life, they still cheated you because that wasn't what they were supposed to pay you. And so I was like, okay, I still hadn't jumped all in yet. I'm just tell y'all. At this point, I was like, okay, I dig where you coming from, sister, but it still felt general. I'm gonna just be honest. I think Cat Williams spoiled us, and he also set the tone for 2024. Cat Williams came in kicking down doors, saying names, pointing people people out doing thumbprints, affidavits, DNA analysis, facial recognition. And so I can admit that I'm slightly spoiled after that experience that we all went through at the beginning of the year during the cat apocalypse. So I was like, all right, it's real general or whatever, but here we go. I'm ready. I'm strapped in. And so then she started talking, and he got to Taraji. Hey, Clyde. Yes, he did. He set the tone. He set a tone for the year. I keep telling Peanut, most of the things that are happening right now, I blame Cat Williams for. He'll never take responsibility for what he has started. She say he's not responsible for all of it. I say all of it is the fault of the money leprechaun. But I digress. Anywho, and I love Cat Williams, but he started all of it. So anyhow, we got on to Taraji and what she had to say, because it kind of segued when she went from, answering Shannon and letting him know that, like, even though, oh, my sister on the phone say all of it's his fault too. See, I knew it. I knew it wasn't just me. They went from talking about that to the fact that Taraji had to speak out or whatever. And because she was saying, like, when you don't talk up, then you end up with these type of situations, is the way I took what she said. Okay. And Shannon wanted to know, what was the difference? What was the difference in when you spoke up and then when Taraji spoke up? Why did she receive support and you got ridiculed? Now, I'm using my words because Shannon is not the most cunning linguist, so I gotta you gotta touche it up a little. And she gave us some insight. She said about 10 years back, while she still had her show, the Monique show. Right. Well, Monique did a great job. I'm gonna tell you about it. She said that she and Taraji were having a conversation about 10 years back, and that Taraji was still on the other side of the game at that point, and explaining to Monique that you just keep giving until you get your turn. And she explained to her that, many people die before they get their turn. When you just keep giving and waiting to get your turn, just keep working and giving and putting out and doing and thinking, well, okay, they'll get me next time. And she just basically told Taraji that you can die before you get your turn. And that is the truth. I know that for myself. Just as a side note, I have helped a lot of people get where they got to go. A lot of people. I mean, a whole lot of people. To the extent that I've never charged what I should. Some people I never charged at all. I've helped them get where they got to go. And when they get where they got to go, they keep going. And they forget your black tail. Every now and then they might be like, oh yeah, I think I kind of remember her somehow. That chick from Florida that time, the loud one, the tall one with the big legs. Yeah. And if you keep waiting for your turn may never come. At a certain point, you have to say something. So I understood what Monique was saying. I understood completely. Hey, sis. Marilyn is here. Love you, sissy. You have to say something. So it was just interesting that it's now full circle. You know what I mean? And then she went to breaking down the reasons why it was such a huge difference in the way Taraji's outcry was processed by our community and by people at large. And she was very self-aware. And I like that. I've never been Monique's biggest fan, not for any bad reasons. It's just I never found her like, hysterically funny. I actually find Monique more funny in movies than in her stand-up. Like, I like her more in movies than stand-up. So I was never like the biggest, like, oh, I'm so crazy about Monique type fan. But I will say this interview made me understand her more, definitely made me like her more. She was just very, like I said, very self-aware, very grounded, very articulate, and I was digging every moment of it. She was very self-aware, and she was like, look, when I said it, it was the messenger. And I said, and I was still on the phone with Peanut. She hadn't got off the phone yet. And I said, wait a minute. She got my attention. And she pointed out three things that made a huge, huge difference. Priscilla Clemens, welcome. Is this your first time? If so, thank you. If not, welcome back. And thank you for being like number 76. I appreciate you. And so she pointed out the one thing for sure, her appearance, desirability. As much as people don't like to admit it, desirability matters. Desirability has a lot to do with whether people will listen to you, people will dismiss you, people will villainize you. And I like the fact that she was aware of her position in the situation. And that's not to say that it's right, but it's real. Like, we cannot escape the norms in our society, in our community, in our culture at large. This is how things go. And she talked about being the fat Black girl, and that the perception is that you should just be grateful to be here. So how dare you complain? And I heard people echo those sorts of sentiments, right? And then she talked about the fact that she did indeed say names. Like, she didn't say they, them, the studio, the people, the machine, it was none of that. She blatantly said names. And I like that she said names personally, because I'm that sort of person. I'm not going to play a game with you. Well, we say they, them, and somebody said. No, it was Mary, Susie, Johnny, Jane, and that whole Paula. And they was all over there on the corner. They was smoking a blunt. I think it was White Hours. It was the peach. If I'm going to say what happened, we're going to say what happened. So she called names, and it was, people that are popular, people that are more liked, that have more power, that are more, in the forefront, people who are considered folks heroes. Because, in our community, poverty is so prevalent that when a Negro becomes rich, they evoke certain emotions. It's either going to be absolute hate because you're rich, or you have a large number of people that can excuse anything they do with they got money. Because how many times have we seen it? Somebody does something evil, awful, and we say, hey, that was wrong, but they got the money. They're a sellout, but they got the money. So she had to deal with that. And then she pointed out what actually made me self-reflective and sad a little bit. Because I actually was able to identify with this lady. I never had been able to identify with Monique, but I was able to identify with her. She talks about the fact that, Taraji's posture, she broke down and cried. And whether we like it or not, there is a huge difference in the perception of Black women. When we talk about being wronged, if we stand 10 toes down with our chin in the air with a straight face, call you out and say, you, Mary Sue Johnson, you did this to me. It's easy to label Black women as negative, bitter, angry, difficult, menacing, intimidating. And these are words that have been used against me. So I understand. It's almost as though you have to concede, concede. That's the word I want to use. You have to almost concede to be a victim as a Black woman in order to even address what people have done to you. That's why I've always felt it was important for no Black women to be silenced. I don't care if it's someone who does not ascribe to respectability politics. I don't care how they live their lives. I don't care what they do for a living. If a Black woman is telling you someone has offended, harmed, hurt me, caused me hurt or harm, she should not have to break down and cry in order to be heard. If she still has her voice intact and she's able to voice it out, and she does so with strength and conviction, that's what happened to Monique. Okay. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but I'm gonna call it like it is. Y'all know me. Hey Trina, thank you for being like number 80. So she covered that. Like I said, I love the fact that she was self-aware and understood that whether it's right or not is real. And so when you're in that position and you are the big Black girl and you are loud, blunt, straightforward, not willing to be a victim, and you have the nerve and the conviction to call names, you know what's coming with it. So I like the fact that she was able to take it just like that. Hey Rochelle, thank you for being 82. So I did like that. She said basically they made an example out of her. And I agree. I agree. She said they made an example out of her, much like they did on plantations, and I totally agree because we all know that's how it went. From the beatings to the buck breaking, it went down in front of a crowd, in front of the other slaves. Mm. And so when you start talking about entertainers and even sports figures, there's always owners, right? It's always owners. And so when you're working in those industries and you have the privilege of making certain amounts of money and you have the privilege of living different than other black people, to them, you're still black and you need to be grateful that you're here. And if you speak up about any mistreatment, they're gonna make an example out of you. She feels like that's what they did. I totally agree that's what they did to her. They made an example. Um, she said that she started talking about the situation with Taraji and Oprah with the Color Purple situation. And she talked about the fact that everyone saw what it was. Everybody saw the tension between Oprah and Taraji and, Oprah's posture toward that lady. And it was clear. And she was, talking about the fact that it wasn't cool that Taraji felt the need to back down for whatever reason. If those were her motives, for all we know, she could have really felt that. And I'm just saying that because I don't know what's in that lady's head. But it did give that appearance that she had to back down and write this love letter to Oprah. Oh, Lady O took care of this and Lady O took care of that. And I just appreciate you. Like it was almost like a bootlicking letter or something. Hey, Antoinette, how you been? And so, and she didn't say that. These are my words. It was giving straight up bootlicker. Like, oh, lady, oh, this, lady, oh, that. Oh, yes, girl. I complain, sister girl. Queen mother, but you the best. You so wonderful. Yeah, we didn't have no dressing rooms, no trailers. Yeah, we ain't have no transportation. No, it wasn't a goddamn thing to eat. But lady, oh, almighty girl, you the best. And it was kind of humiliating to watch because you know what I'm saying. It just was what it was. And so she was like, basically that Taraji was mistreated. I agree. I didn't see anything wrong there. Then we got into this whole thing about this audio. The audio. So apparently she provided an audio. I did not hear the audio, but she provided an audio of Tyler Perry admitting that he did not tell the truth, that he did start that rumor saying that this lady was difficult when he knew it was not true. And he said he was going to apologize. But he didn't, and things flipped around. And then let's get into this Kevin Hart situation. See, Kevin Hart, while I lovingly, and I do mean lovingly, because I absolutely love Cat Williams. I do. Truly, I love everything about that man's energy. I love a truth teller. And I lovingly call him the money leprechaun because he just magically pops up and money just shows up. And he's so little, Kevin Hart is not the nice money leprechaun. He's not. He's not a nice guy at all. So let's talk about how he comes into the situation. So according to Monique, and I didn't watch because I don't like Kevin Hart. I don't like anything that he stands for. Like I don't do him. She did his podcast. This was after she mentioned the fact that she was not going to meet with Tyler Perry without her husband. And she ain't giving him no apology because even though there's an audio of him apologize or saying he was going to publicly apologize, admitting that he started the rumor, that she was difficult to work with. Somehow it flipped, and now he wanted an apology from her and wanted to meet with her without a husband, and that wasn't happening. Which, the more I hear about the situation with her husband, it don't make sense. Why do y'all want to meet with her without her representation? Her husband is actually her manager. I don't think I was clear on that before. I wasn't. So apparently the husband is the manager. Y'all, please like this video. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Please thumbs up this video. So the husband is the manager, and they want to meet with her without her manager. Like, are y'all okay? Are you all right? She said not happening, no apology, right? So this after she addressed all of that, she starts talking about doing Kevin Hart's podcast. So she's on there and he's like, "Oh, you're like my mom, my auntie, my sister, blah blah blah." They talked about everything. And he said he was gonna read. He's like, "I don't know Oprah, but I'm gonna reach out to Tyler Perry." So she was like, "Okay, so cool." So boom, like that, he reaches out to Tyler Perry and calls her back like a week later to tell her, like, Tyler said he don't want to revisit that at all, but me and you, let's just move past that. Let's do great things. I can work with you. I'll partner with you, whatever it is you're trying to do, like that. And say that he even wrote a check to for her and her family. Like he passed them some coins and stuff because Tyler Perry and Oprah had really blocked this girl's money. And that's evil. She talked about making $2 and $3 million a year down to 12 years of her not being able to really earn because of the rumors that were started um by Tyler Perry saying that this lady is difficult when that wasn't the facts. And that's really evil. That's really terrible. And I don't like Tyler Perry anyway. But this interview with her just really putting everything out there, I really don't like him. So he wrote a check and she was like, let me give him his due. And he did that. And she said, as soon as they were able to hand that money back, they handed that money back with some interest because she didn't want it to look like, like my family needed nothing or whatever from nobody, but it really was helpful and it was, good looking out. So anyway, she said at that time she was working with a company named Endemol. I guess that's the company that was running her talk show and she was trying to get her talk show back. And so she reached out to them like, yo, Kevin Hart said he's willing to partner with me, co-produce with me, blah, blah, blah. And so they were excited because, Kevin Hart is Hollywood's golden boy. That's their boy. And so, they heard his name and was like, okay, well, bet, that's a lick because we know, he's the golden boy right now. So if he's willing to partner with you, co-produce with you or whatever, bam, let's do this thing. So they reach out to her about a week or so after that to let her know Kevin Hart's manager, what's the man name? Because y'all know I like to tell it right. The manager reached out to David Becky to Endemol, talked back to them and told them that Kevin Hart don't want nothing to do with Monique. So she said she got off the phone. She called Kevin Hart. She said Kevin Hart immediately started denying everything. Oh, no. That was a miscommunication. I'm going to get that straight right now. That was a miscommunication. I'm going to reach out to them. We're going to get this straight. And she said she ain't heard from that Negro no more in 2 years. That was 2 years ago. From then to now, she ain't heard another peep from him. Yep. Ray say would. Like you was so genuine in the beginning. Oh, you like my mama, my auntie, my sister. You so down that you cutting checks and everything else. You reaching out to Tyler Perry. And then all of a sudden, after you said, oh, I'm a partner with you, I'll work with you, I'll co-produce with you, blah, 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 to having your manager tell them clear people, you don't want nothing to do with her. And then immediately after she asked you about it, you deny, you lie, say, I'm going to call you back. And 2 years later, ain't heard a peep. Even say they didn't want Kevin to work with her and he listened. Well, that's what happens when you're a plant. You're owned. So you do what you told. It ain't got nothing to do with what you want to do. You're going to do what you told because you're a plant. He plant-based. Yes. Real crazy, right? So I'm sitting there like, knew I didn't like him. I knew I didn't like him. Jackie said that's exactly why he having problems now. Ooh. Ray said sounds like he drank the Kool-Aid. He don't have a choice. They gave him everything he has. He didn't earn. They gave it to him. And when people give you something, they can take it. Now you check that. When people get anything somebody gives you, they can take. Lord, my sister talking about something. Never trust a short button, a smile. I'm done. But I'm just being real, y'all. The things that you work for, can't nobody take. Your education, nobody will take it. You earned it. It don't matter if they don't like what you do with it. They can't take it because you earned it. Your actual work product, you earned. The essay Kevin falls short on integrity. Was that a play on words? Was that a pun? Was the pun intended? He fell short. Evie say he belongs to them. You know what Kat said? They don't own themselves. They don't. They don't. And he proved it. I said, oh, oh. You see, he had to wear that dress. He belonged to them. Lala said, I'm not surprised. Look at all he did to Tori. Jackie say Thumper got to jump around with the carrot in his mouth for Massa right now. Oh, tough crowd. So, anywho, moving right along past that, 2 years later, never called back. And she pointed out, when Kat sat here on this couch and told you about that man and everything he had to say, she pointed out the fact that the only thing Kevin Hart could say was, oh, get the anger out your heart. She said, you notice they didn't call him no lie. And she's right. Ain't none of them call him a lie. They just, oh, get the anger out your heart. He bitter. He did see that. But can you call him a liar, baby? Miss Weedy Pooh, thank you for being 97. But the baby say, because the fact that he gave her a check of his own fruition and then had to switch, that's not what he wanted. Right. But that's what happens when you're owned. That's what happens when you're owned. That's how it goes. So that went on. And then she mentioned about Tyler and the tape and the narrative flipping from, I didn't tell the truth. I'm going to apologize to now you need to apologize or whatever. And then she started talking about Oprah and how Oprah had crossed the line with her. And I thought it was absolute comedy gold when she was like, Oprah has crossed the line with her so many times that if they were not Oprah and Monique in entertainment, if they was Oprah and Monique working down to the Costco, she basically would have invited her to the break room. Them Baltimore ladies are a special breed. And I do believe that she was, insinuating that somebody might have got papped up. I think she might have papped her up if they wasn't who they are in this situation. Okay? So she started, relaying a story. Not just a story, things that can be checked, like it really happened. Divine, thank you for being number 103. About after she won the Oscar for Precious. Okay. And this story is odd to me because it's so unprovoked. It's so unprovoked. So unprovoked. She says that Oprah had an occasion to call her. And that Oprah called her and said, hey, your brother reached out to me. Your brother. And that your brother said he wants to apologize to you and speak up and let people know what to look for, if they're around an abuser or a predator or whatever, right? She said that she told Oprah, I don't want nothing to do with him. I don't want nothing to do with that dude at all. And she said, Oprah said, well, would you want me to scratch the interview? She said she told Oprah, no, you don't have to scratch the interview because he could have changed. He could be a totally different person today. Okay. And she said she got off that phone after that interaction feeling like, well, dang, that was cool of her. Like she was real cool to reach out to me. Like that was some stand-up stuff to do. And then, a little while later, she sees the advertisement or advertisement, depending on where you're from. And she sees that her mama is going to be on there and her daddy and her other brother that used to be the manager. I believe the one that stole from her. Oprah didn't tell her all them people was going to be there. Mm-mm. Just the brother that molested you. That's the one that's gonna be there. And so, it really shook her up. Like, why would you do that to me? And apparently, we found out later on in this interview that Monique had really shared some personal backstory about her family, including her mom, with Oprah at some point. So you knew what had taken place. You knew what this lady had gone through and some of her pain, some of her trauma. And then for you to just do that. And of course, Shannon Sharp is like, why would she do that? He said she was like, look in the camera and ask Oprah why she would do it, because I don't know why she would do that to me. Like, I have no idea why she would do such a thing. She turned off her comments. Yes, yes. So that happened. And anyway, so then we move on to DL Hughley. Because y'all know, yeah, that she wanted to ambush her. Definitely wanted to ambush her and victimize her again. Make her relive all her trauma. That's some mean crap to do. That's some mean garbage. You gotta be a mean piece of work to do something like that to somebody. It ain't in me to treat nobody like that. It just ain't. Um, her and of course her and Shannon bantered back and forth a little bit after that, but I didn't want to get into all that because it was lengthy. She got onto DL Hughley. Now y'all remember, it was sometime last year, I want to think, or maybe the year before, but I want to think it was sometime last year. Something happened where they did a comedy show and she went on stage and ripped DL to shreds. Y'all should remember that. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember it. Put a 2 if you don't, but I remembered it. But I didn't know where it came from, where it started, how it got like that. Miss Gardner, thank you for being 106. I appreciate you. And yeah, real me, real me. Yep, y'all please use the engagement button. Okay, so a lot of y'all do remember when that happened between her and DL. Makisha, welcome. Makisha says she don't remember. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wait, no, you put the 1, so you do remember. Okay, got it. Hey, chubby girl cuteness, how you doing? DS, you don't? Okay, cool. So listen, we got the news. This is what was public, because the backstory she gave was absolutely not public. But what we heard at the time, I think I talked about it on here, but I don't remember. Y'all know my mind bad. If I ain't got my notebook in front of me, I can't swear to nothing. But at the time, what Trina, you might have to refresh your page, because sometimes the engagement button can go away. If you don't see it on the bottom right hand side, refresh your page, it should come back. Renee, my sis, yeah, she told him a whole new orifice, new booty hole, brand new wide one. Yeah, the XLT, the classic. So they had the comedy show, Keisha Harris, and something went on where she was supposed to headline, but he thought he was supposed to headline. And so he was trying to go after her, and that's not how it works. When you're the headliner, you close the show. She had it in a contract. He didn't have it in a contract. He talking about it was on a memo or a flyer. And so he behaved untoward. And she then went onto the stage, called him a coward, a few other things, choice words, non-Sunday school words. I mean, reamed him out real good. And so now we get the backstory between her and DL. And I'm not a DL Hughley fan either. He ain't never so much as made me chuckle a day in my life. He's right up there with Dave Chappelle. I don't get it. I know other people get it. I don't. So she said, what's up? What happened? So she said she did his radio show, right? Y'all know DL Hughley got a radio show, comes on in the afternoons, every afternoon. I forgot like from what time to what time, but it comes on every afternoon. I forgot what it's called. So anyway, she did his show, and she did his show a day when he wasn't there. His team was there. The lady and the 2 guys that be on there, they were there, but he wasn't there that day. So she said she did his show. She came in, they kicking it, having a good time, laughing, joking, everything's everything. And they get to the end of the show and they were like, Monique, you want to play a game? So she's like, yeah, bet, whatever. So let's do it. We having a good time. And they want to play Would You Rather. Like, would you rather this or would you rather that? Something, always something crazy. So anyway, so she agreed. Like, okay, cool, let's play. These people decide to ask her, would you rather your man sleep with Lee Daniels with a condom, with a prophylactic? Because y'all know certain words make me uncomfortable. Would you rather your husband have intercourse with Lee Daniels with a prophylactic or with Corinne Stevens, y'all call her Superhead, without one? Monique called flag on play. Foul, foul, foul. Flag on play. We not doing that. That's not what's up. That's not cool. This don't uplift nobody. That ain't it. Like, that ain't it. We not doing that. And so the lady that's on the show with DL, she's like, oh no, it's just, we just having fun, kiki. And so she doubled down and told her, like, absolutely not. That's not funny. That ain't cool. That ain't it. Let me call my brother talking about DL. Because she thinking that they cool at this point. She said she called DL. DL answered the phone. Yeah. That would have been strike one. What the hell you mean, yeah? Apparently his people had already said, oh, Monique finna call you. So she tell him what's up, what's happening, whatever. He tells her, that's how we do it. So she was like, bro, that ain't cool. Like, man, what you doing over here, man? This ain't, I'm not comfortable with this. And so he goes and he doubles down and like, well, that's how we do it. It is what it is. She said they had a back and forth so good that it escalated. The call ended. She had her lawyer send a cease and desist, and the show never aired at all. So we didn't even know what the backstory was as to why it got this bad at the comedy show. So basically, they got out of that. They never had a civil conversation after that. He never apologized. He never tried to clean up anything. Evie said DL was doing Steve dirty work. Probably. Cat Williams told y'all they're a gang over there. It's a gang, and everybody know who's in the little gang. Okay. So she said, I'm gonna catch you later. Like, I'm gonna run into you later. I'm gonna run into you later. Yeah, he definitely is one of them fetch master slippers cats, and then try to low-key try to talk black, but at the same time you super raccoonish. Like, no, baby, no, not you. So anyway, she never seen him after that. They didn't run into each other. They didn't run into each other after that. They didn't talk after that. And she was just like, well, I'm gonna run into you later. I'm gonna see you later. And she was right. So she said they had the comedy show. She was the headliner. And she said at first she saw what his name was on the show, and then his name was off the show. So long story short, they ended up doing the one of the nights for the comedy show or whatever was in Detroit. For the Detroit show, she signed a contract to be the headliner. And so she was. Okay. And so she was. He was running around talking about, right, Renee, she didn't see him to that comedy show. That's when she seen him, to the comedy show. And so that night, she said, she signed a contract to be the headliner. And so that's what she was planning to be. So, the show started at 8 or whatever she said. And that she was contractually in the contract, her set was supposed to start at 9:30. Now, DL didn't show up until around 9:30. So I think he thought that he was supposed to, I'm going to headline. I don't care if she got a contract. I got a memo. Memos are not contracts. Like, what the hell were you thinking? And so they, I guess, had their little thing go on backstage. So once she got out on stage, she had to get him for the old and the new. She had to get him for the old and the new. It made sense to me. It made sense to me. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, once you get a whole story on something, then it starts to make sense. It made sense. I was like, oh. So that's why. And then he got up there and he, oh, the memo, this, that. And she was like, what's real whack? Yeah, she did show her paperwork, and I do remember that. What was real whack was the fact that he was trying to push this narrative like this memo was somehow legal and binding when it's not. When it's not. And I was on Monique's side with that completely. Why would you be out in public trying to pretend like that's how business is done when there's people who don't know the business and you're leading them to believe that something like that is the case when it's not? You know better. So anyway, she swung over there and tapped Vlad, the culture vulture, the snow monkey, Vlad TV, and talked about the fact that, she hit on the fact that people were saying all kind of reckless stuff on this man's platform, and the fact that these people will sit there, black people will sit there and let this man say all the kind of stuff. And she was talking about herself, but I'm gonna say he say all kind of stuff about all black people, period. And other black people allow him to get away with that. Let me be very clear. I don't care if it's a black person that I don't necessarily care for. No vulture is going to sit in my presence and be talking reckless about another sister or another brother in my presence. You better wait and let somebody else say it. You better wait till one of us say it. And if you want to say amen, you better whisper it. Don't do that with me. Okay? Yes, he was definitely trying to bully her. Boy, y'all, Steve Harvey case, not Mr. Potato Head. I think I see Lala said he was doing Steve and his wigs dirty deeds. I'm just not ready for y'all. Ian, hey boo, thank you for being number 112. What a players dwell. Ray said, I think DL was referencing how big his photo was versus Monique's on the flyer to validate his memo. But that has nothing to do with a contract. It's called contracts. Somebody making a bad flyer or giving you a memo does not a contract make. And DL knows better. That's the problem. DL knows better. So anyway, she was talking about the fact that they sit up there and let that man say in and everything, and they go in with him, agree with whatever the hell Vlad got to say. I'm still trying to figure out why black people are going to sit down with that creature. Hey, Couture Bay, how you doing, love? Thank you for being 117. And M. Guerrero says, and I don't know why people interview with Vlad still. He's the real FBI. Clearly. Say, right, Nitra, I stand for black all day. And if you're not black, you can't be talking about it. Hello, you're not going to talk about my sisters or my brothers to me. You're going to watch your mouth. Okay? So Renee says, but Monique rode his behind like a Brahma bull and him with shame. And should have been. Okay? Yeah, he doesn't know his place because others in our community refuse to put him in his place, and they keep allowing him to defecate on the rug and pick his fleas indoors. However, on from that, she started talking about the Parkers and how much money the show made as opposed to how much she and Countess Vaughn were paid. And even talked about, other black shows like the Jeffersons, Good Times. They made so much money for the networks, for those companies, but they did not receive even a fraction of the money that they made, even after they went into reruns and into syndication. The money ain't money in. Then Shannon Sharp segued, and he did this a few times during this interview. I found it interesting. I didn't get annoyed by it, which was shocking, because y'all know I be aggravated when men see silly stuff. We're not talking about earthquake, Keisha. It was shocking because y'all know normally when men start just repeating themselves or doing certain things and I don't understand your motives, I can get irritated with men quick. It didn't irritate me, but I was trying to understand where he was going or what he was looking for. Hey, Angela Nichols, thank you for being 117, darling. And so he asked, how can Tyler Perry make it right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, where is he going with this? Yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the pivot. I will say this, I did not understand the pivot. Even now, I have speculation. I have theories on why he pivoted that way, but I still don't quite get it, honestly. but I'm glad that he did it in a way because it did kind of bring things back, to where they were before it kind of forayed off. Um, he said, how can he make it right? So she was talking about the accountability, like he has to be held accountable. And she talked about the fact that's when she mentioned like 2 to 3 million a year, and then to end up going 12 years with your family taking a huge financial hit because you're not being able to work. You're not being allowed to work. You're being blacklisted based on someone telling a lie. Hey, T Monique, thank you for being 118. Um, yeah, it does show he was being fair. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Um, and so that's a huge hit. And like she said, with a lie that he admitted to telling. And the fact that she has audio, I like that she has audio. I love when people record. Like everybody has a issue when they're recorded, and their fans and their acolytes will run around and say, well, why would you be recording? Well, why would you be recording? Well, honey, people record because they know you're liars. Let's be clear. I've recorded people before. I have. May do it again. When people are recording you, it's to protect themselves from you, to protect you from them. And usually when you are a known liar. So let's look at her situation. You have lied on me and cost me 12 years worth of revenue. Why would I not record you? Why would I not record you? The only people who have a fit about being recorded are liars. Because let me tell you something. I talk to people. I have friends who work in different types of media. I have friends who record every phone call that they take, and that has never stopped me from talking to them on the phone. I know they record every call with everybody. It ain't even personal. I still talk to them on the phone. You know why? Because I'm not a liar. So I don't mind talking when you record. The people who have a problem with you recording are liars. So in this case, Tyler Perry got caught lying. You got caught admitting to lying on audio and saying that you were going to apologize. And then the narrative in the story flipped. After you ran around saying that this lady was difficult when you knew she wasn't. You cost her 12 years of revenue. So, Shannon pivoted back, and yeah, okay, that could look like I'm trying to be fair, but it didn't bode well for the liar. It didn't bode well for that liar at all. So she said he would have to be accountable. And then she clearly stated at multiple points during this interview that she still loves him and Oprah still love you, still love them, still needs you to be accountable. And that's a fair point of view. That's a fair stance. Like, I don't hate you, but I still need you to be accountable for what you did. I don't hate you. When I hear people say stuff like, I used to love you, yeah, that means you never did. If you can stop loving somebody because of whatever, you didn't love them, baby. It's people that have done me wrong. I ain't stopped loving you. I still love you. I may have had to change the nature of our relationship. I may not never deal with you on the same level, but it's not, oh, I don't love you. So I like that she made that clear. They got back around to talking about The Color Purple and the fact that, and more industry ins outs her take on things, and the fact that these ladies that were in The Color Purple were quote unquote handpicked. And if they were handpicked, why on earth were they still made to audition? And I didn't even think about that. Once she said it, I said, That's a darn good question. If in fact you were hand-picked, why did you still have to audition? And she made a point. She said, that's like a game. And if they can get you to audition after they quote unquote hand pick you, then they already know they got you. They already know they got you. And I can dig it. Hey, Jacob Paul. And Shannon kept trying to pivot. He went on to asking her about doing the Apollo and, does she get nervous? Blah, blah, blah. Asked her about the bonnet comments, and she said those were like Halloween costumes, ladies running out in bonnets and pajamas. And I do think it's absolutely abysmal. I'm sorry. It's gross. Right, Renee? That was a really good question. Really good. And then so we slide on over to, somehow we ended up on Tiffany Haddish. And they talked about the interview that Tiffany Haddish did with GQ magazine. And Tiffany is the mammy of all mammies. Like, woo, shout out to Vicky Dillard, our good sis Vicky Dillard. If you're not subscribed to Vicky Dillard TV, please go and subscribe to our dear sister. Grassroots Media, one of the realest sisters ever. Like, she for real in the cause. But she has a term for these sorts of ladies, and she refers to them as the League of Mammies. And we do know that Tiffany Haddish is indeed in the League of Mammies. So she did this interview with GQ. And so she made reference to Monique, like, oh, I don't do business like Monique. You're right. Monique can actually tell a joke. And then said, well, I'm glad I don't have that husband of hers. Another talking plant. And that's just so wild. Like, what did Monique ever do to you for you to come out your mouth sideways? Or did you think it was cute to pile on? Because she wasn't the darling. She wasn't a favorite. It was popular to take a shot at this sister because she decided to stand up for herself. So you took a shot. You thought it was safe. Monique made a point. She said, well, if you'd have had a husband like mine, you might not have those 2 DUIs. And you might not be in a situation where it appears that you could have been grooming children. And I said, wow, that was heavy. That just came out of, just right upside your head. Oops, upside your head. And she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong, because if she had a partner, I'm sure her partner, her husband, would have advised her like, hey, even if you don't mean no harm, this might not look good. You might not want to do a skit like this. You think this is smart. You might want to let Aries Spears call somebody else for this one. Don't bring your homegirl churning into this mess. Why would you even want something to do with a skit like this? See, if you got a partner, they can be your sounding board and say, baby, that don't sound right. And your partner definitely wouldn't have had you out there driving drunk. I'm just saying, when I've had a few daddy drives. I don't drive. I don't. Hey, Bama boy. Yes, it was a great interview. I know. It was a gang of people in the chat. So, Renee said Tiffany better go sit her drunk, lonely, begging behind down. Hello, good night. So, got past that. We get to the Moesha thing. And, Shannon was like, well, you auditioned for Moesha. She said, no, I did not audition. She said she's never auditioned. And she said when she first got out there to LA, she told them she wasn't auditioning, AJ Johnson and somebody else. And they was like, okay, yeah, right. That type of thing. And she was like, okay. She feels like auditioning devalues her. She feels like once she's reached a certain level, why would I have to audition? You make me an offer. She said at this point in her life, she's offer only. She ain't auditioning. And talks about the fact that you have to be careful what you say yes to. She says she don't even take calls on what's Monique's availability. Like, none of that. You make an offer. And that's just that. So I'm like, all right, Miss Ma'am. Okay. She say, and quoted Sidney Poitier, when he stated that it's not about what you say yes to more times, it's what you say no to. You person, let's get you out of my chat. Let's go ahead and get rid of you. I don't know why losers come in my chat like that. So anyway, it's a disease. Pray for them. So anyway, she gets back onto again with Moesha, and she said she did an audition, and she was talking about how everything happened, right, with Moesha, how everything went down. And she's like, it just kind of happened the way it sounds to me. It sounds like someone reached out to her manager and asked, like, can she act? And her manager was like, hell yeah, she could act. Didn't know whether she could or not, but said yeah. And that Countess Vaughn had been on Moesha as Mo's friend. Y'all remember, because she had the crush on the other friend. Y'all remember how it all went. We all us used to watch Moesha. Okay. So anyway, and so they introduced her on there, because they had always mentioned about Kim's mama. And so they brought her in and they did the episode with her as Kim's mama. Thank you, Renee. I love it. My archangels be in the chat play, and they don't play no games. None. And so, they treated that episode where she got introduced as Kim's mama as the pilot. That was her pilot or whatever. And so after that, the rest was history. And her and Countess Vaughn got a spinoff called The Parkers, which I didn't know that that's exactly how that went, but I thought that was neat. She talks about the fact that she was still so green, like everything happened so fast for her. She was so green. She didn't even know she had a parking space. They had sent out a memo or email or something saying everybody working on the Parkers park outside the gate. And so she had been parking outside the gate and walking across the lot till one of the dudes that worked there took on the golf cart and was like, girl, you got a whole parking space. She didn't even know. Shannon asked her about her motivations for why she ended up, working the way she worked and being where she was. And she was like, you say you grew up poor. Like, I didn't. She's like, she had a middle-class home. Her motivations was that she wanted to be seen. She wanted to be known. She wanted to be popular. She wanted to feel like she wasn't rejected. She wanted to be chosen. Like, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't my story. But she said she wanted the attention. You know what I mean? So I could dig that. And I actually applaud her honesty. A lot of people wouldn't be that honest and that transparent and that raw, but she really, really was. So I completely appreciate that. Then she went to talk about her husband. I'm gonna just breeze through this because I know she was all excited to talk about her man. It's a cute story. Said that they were mainly like just plutonic. They've been friends since 10th grade. They had been roommates at one point. He had always had his girlfriend. She always had her boyfriends. Apparently, they talked about everything together. They was cool and everything. He had been at her other 2 weddings before she married him. Like, they didn't have nothing like that going on, she say. And then a situation occurred where it was a man she was liking and he wasn't really liking her like that. And y'all know how men can be. So he was, spending time, taking up her time, wasting her time. And she was all in, but he wasn't studying her, is the way I got it. Okay. And that she called him to talk about it. And basically he was like, child, stop running behind this dude. And so anyway, she ended up having a BET Awards party, I believe is what she said. And the house was packed. And so she had, the outside, I guess, is where she was entertaining. So she went inside and was talking to her friend and telling him what's going on. And she had to get ready for the Essence Festival. So she went upstairs to get her bath and stuff and get ready, not thinking nothing of it because, this her friend. And I understand. And say after she was getting ready and stuff, she had done got out the shower, she getting finished, and he went and told her, like, when you get back, I want to talk to you about something. She ain't thinking nothing. Say he went to kiss her on the cheek, but it was halfway on her cheek, halfway on her mouth, and said that, she felt like, oh, what's that? And talked about the fact that, for a minute, she felt like they had done something wrong. And I could get that because, like, my partners is my partners. And one of them jokers, had tried to kiss me like that, I'd have swung on them. I mean, we, back, watch yourself, man. So I understand why she would not be comfortable with that if that's been your, this your dog. Like, you good? But she said she was with it though, but she still felt like they had kind of did something wrong. But I get that. Say when she got back, she went by his house. Hey, Mary Augustine, thank you for being number 125. say when she got back, she from Essence, she went by his house and he had cooked and stuff and read her a poem or whatever. And they started going together and they've been together 19 years. I'm like, okay, wow, cute, black love, got you. And mainly, you know, she got with him because she felt like she could trust him. I could see that. If you've been around a bunch of snakes, this somebody been your dog since I was in 10th grade. Yeah, I could see that. But she said she didn't really know what she was getting. And then she went back into that, oh, he raised me stuff. And, you know, ain't nobody really, you know, that part of the conversation is always going to be cringy to me. I don't want to judge her for that. I don't. And let me not just say I don't want to judge her for it. I'm not going to judge her for it. I have never been in her shoes. When she was talking about, you know, her relationship with her daddy, I couldn't identify because y'all know Phil was the best man on the planet. He was the best man in the entire Milky Way galaxy. And I'll fight you about it. Like, that's what that is. So, you know, her relationship with her daddy was different. And maybe that's why, you know, she felt like she needed somebody who could father her. You know, I'm not going to judge her for it. I've never been in that position, so I could never understand. So I'm not going to judge how she moves from that position. I've never been in that position. Moving on to the Queens of Comedy. Now, this I thought was interesting. I mean, interesting. Queens of Comedy. So she said originally she wasn't even supposed to be in it. She wasn't even supposed to be in it originally. You know, they had some more. Y'all know I love some more Rambo. I love me some doggone some more. Had Adele Givens. Love Adele. And Miss Laura. Okay. So she was with these ladies and she was like, you know, it was just amazing. It was history making. She, you know, she was praising the other two ladies. And I can dig all of that. I thought that was so cool that they had a genuine sister moment between the four of them. Like, I love that. Those of y'all who are members of the royal family, y'all know I cut for my sisters. Y'all know I cut for my sisters. So I loved hearing that it was really genuine. So she said that she ended up headlining with the Queens of Comedy because they had done a show in Atlanta. And she said that night, for whatever reason, she was on. Like, everything was sticking. And so more with her cute, sassy self, she said she did her thing. Samore was actually headlining. And when Samore finished her set, Samore said she said Samore walked up to her and was like, "You headlining from now on," and walked off. And ain't said nothing else about it. And that's just how it went. And it was mainly because, like she said, Samore wanted the show to be good. She wanted a good show. And so that's just how it went. And she was talking about like moments like Miss Laura teaching them how to heat up food with an iron and a towel and stuff. Some chicken wings, you know, wrap it up in the rentals and put a towel over it and heat it with the iron. And talking about Miss Laura told them she done been to jail before. I love Miss Laura. But it was just cool that they had real moments like that. That was what's up. She said, but even at that, like, the ladies was cool. But working with the dude that really, the same one that produced the Kings of Comedy, did this one. I don't know why I can't say that man's name. Lathan. It'll come to me. Y'all know my mind bad. I didn't write that part down. Forgive me. But anyway, exact same person that did one did the other. But the treatment was so incongruent. He treated the men this way and treated the ladies this way. So much so that the first check they got from doing the Queens of Comedy, he had the nerve to bounce a check. Stan Lathan, thank you, Jackie. He had the nerve to bounce a check. He bounced the check, y'all. Rubber checks, funny money. So after that, she was like, you got X amount of time to get my money here. And from now on, you paying me in cash only. Wasn't with it. Played no games. And she said he tried her again. One night tried to pay her less than what they was supposed to pay her. Tried to shout the money. Yes, y'all, shout it. SHAWT. They tried to shout this lady money. And she said, I don't care if it ain't but a little bit. You don't get the rest of my money here. My throat hurt. And I understand. And then after that, I guess after he couldn't get away with after he couldn't get away with the stuff that he was doing with them, then he started selling off their shows to different promoters and all these weird people walking up on them and stuff and acting crazy. You know, just take a picture with my family. They didn't even know who the people was. They showing up to do events, to do gigs, and they got promoters. They don't know nothing back. So then one night she said the kings and the queens of comedy were doing their thing together. And she gave a shout out to Bernie. Like Bernie was a real stand-up guy. And apparently everybody loved Bernie but Steve and them. They was just jealous of Bernie. But all the men had their own limos, y'all. All of them. And then when it came to the women supposed to share one limo. And Monique said something. She said, no, I ain't playing with it. The hell with you. You gave them their own separate limos. I'm going to need our own separate limos. She stood for it. And she said at the end of everything, he bought all of them Rolexes and the girls ain't getting nothing. Nothing. After he made them, after they made him money too, they ain't getting nothing. That's what happened. So they moved on. And she said, and that's why when people be like, oh, when y'all gonna do a Queens of Comedy too? She said, look, it was a moment, but we ain't doing that no more. We ain't doing that no more. So anyway, moving right along to Precious. This is where the lies began against Monique. This is where the lies started. Now, this is where the lies started against this lady. So Precious was an independent film. Lee Daniels reached out to her friend. This the one. You do this, they gonna give you them. Renee said they should have jumped. That you gonna get you an Oscar. You just got to do this when you got to do it. You got to do it. So she was like, okay, friend, I'm gonna do it. $50,000, right? And she was gonna do the domestic promo. And so that's what was in her contract. So she promoted it on Oprah. She promoted it on television. She promoted it in magazines. She did everything she was supposed to do for the movie. Then after that, after it had its run, they took it to the Cannes Film Festival. Y'all know. And so they reached out to her. And this is, when they were getting ready to sell the movie or whatever, and wanted her to go to Cannes to promote the movie and start doing international promotions, which was not in her contract at all. They reached out to her, Lionsgate, wanted her to go to Cannes and, we'll give you 3 extra days in France, or not 3 extra days. I'm sorry, extra week in France. And some other nonsense. And she was like, and her husband, who's also her manager, was like, so is there a dollar amount attached to this? And Lionsgate told him, no, we never pay for promo. And so it was like, yeah, no, ain't nobody working for free. Nobody's working for free. So they reached out to her 3 different times. And every time it was absolutely not. So then I think she said at the Hoodie Awards. Yeah, she did say Hoodie Awards. This was in the notes. Tyler Perry wanted to meet with her because it was like, okay, Massa wants you to work for free and you don't want to be a good little slave. So I'm going to come in here because I'm not nice like boss. So she met up with him. She said she went to his room, I guess his dressing room, waiting room, whatever, at the Hoodie Awards. And she said, this Negro, and everybody in there scattered like roaches running out the room. Like, this, who the hell is you clapping at? I couldn't work for nobody like him. I'd be done slapped piss water at Tyler Perry. You understand what I'm telling you? When I got through slapping him, he would have bass in his voice, and I bet you he'll quit switching and puckering in pictures. He clapping, people running out the room. She had her security with her, and they looking at her. She was like, y'all work for me. You don't work for Tyler Perry, so you better stay right where you at. So they stayed there. He goes to explaining to her, well, you just need to do this. And if you do this, then the next movie is, after that'll be $6 and $8 million. You just need to come on and do this. And she was like, Yeah, no, I'm not working for free, dog. That's not happening. And she was like, look, if y'all want me to do it that bad, I don't care who pay me, but I'm not working for free. She said, I don't care if you pay me, Oprah pay me, y'all either paying or I'm not working. Because what was in my contract for them $50,000, I'm still bugged out that they wanted this lady to do all of that for $50,000. Like, is she a crackhead or something? Like, y'all think she on that powder? Why would you think she finna be doing all that for 50 racks? For real? This don't make no sense. It doesn't make sense. Now, Ali, let me help you out. It don't matter where your friend work, and I ain't being funny. And it don't matter who don't get paid for what. But if someone has something in their contract and they fulfill their contractual obligations, you do not ask them to do extra work that is not in the contract for free. And it don't matter who you don't pay. So you go get somebody who had it in their contract to do it as a part of their contract fulfillment. That ain't had nothing to do with that lady contract. Her contract was to promote that movie domestically. You don't come back later on the back end because now you have an opportunity to sell the movie and then say, okay, well, go promote it. Yes, international. Yes, not a part of your contract, but just go work for free. The answer is no. No, that does not make her difficult. That makes her a businesswoman. That makes her a free agent, a free citizen. That makes her somebody who is not willing to say yes, a boss. As a do it boss. It don't work like that. So she had every right to say, this is not a part of my contract. If y'all want it done that bad, I don't care who paid me, but somebody paying because I ain't working for free. And I said, check that. Hey, Tony Booth. So he said, oh, I don't give out money for free. And she said, it's cool. I don't work for free. And so as far as she knew, they were straight because she said they hugged and everything after that. This how phony these people are. Right. 50 racks. 50. Because it was an independent film with her friend at the time, Lee Daniels. So now, right, she should have said hell no because that wasn't in the contract. She had already agreed to do a whole hell of a lot for 50K. A whole hell of a lot for 50K. And now you want her to do something that's not even in the contract and ain't nobody talking money, then you need to quit talking to me. Matter of fact, don't say nothing else. Call me Pinky from Friday. Say something else. Say another mother. What? Because I don't remember that part, Pinky. What happened? How it's not in the contract and you want me to do it for free? It ain't got nothing to do with 4C. Ain't nobody asked them to be Miss Cleo. But guess what? They didn't foresee it either. So just because you didn't foresee it doesn't mean that someone owes you free work. It don't work that way. You want somebody to work, you pay them. If you didn't put it in the contract, tough titty. And I do mean tough titty. Hell no. Ain't nobody working for free. So like I was saying, Tyler Perry fake behind, acted like, oh, he understood. They hugged. They left it at that. That was the end of it. So she thought, okay. Oprah then called. Like, okay, Tyler, you couldn't get her to be a good little slave. So I'll call her. Because after all, I'm Lady O. I'm going to get some straightening. I'll get her in line. So Oprah calls. And she was like, you know what? I understand after she told her no. Well, I understand because I've had to draw the line in the sand sometimes. And she claimed that she understood and everything, but that's what she said privately. But what she said publicly was something different. But mind you, during that conversation that she had with Monique, was she talking about lines in the sand and how she understand? Okay, she had bars. That was a conversation that was on speakerphone. And there was a gentleman who has since went to see the Lord by the name of Reggie Wells, who was at the time a makeup artist for Sister Oprah. And he was in the room. And according to Mr. Wells, he said that once the call ended, he asked Oprah, "Why don't you just do right? Why don't y'all just pay the girl?" And Oprah said, "I ain't giving her nothing." And he said, "That's not right." Now, the record of this man telling this story is recorded on a show that was done by Monique and her husband, Sydney. Apparently, there was a show by the name of Sydney and Monique Road to Being Unoffended. I seem to vaguely remember that or whatever. I didn't watch, because y'all know a lot of stuff I just ain't gonna watch. Y'all know I'm picky. Okay? But no, the can situation, she was not wrong. If it's not in your contract, you don't owe anybody anything. Y'all crazy as a bag of hair. If you think that someone will do something that they're not contractually obligated to do for free. And I love you to death, but sis, you got to be crazy as a chinch. You crazy as a Betsy bug. If you think that something is not in a contract, but we should do it just for the hell of it, for free. Hell no. All the hells and the no. Everything they did to that lady was wrong. Hell no. So anyway, Reggie was on the show and he told a story on that show. So with him telling the story on that show, it's recorded that Reggie, who was a witness to the conversation, clearly stated that he heard the conversation and that he tried to talk up and told Oprah, like, it's not right. And she just basically didn't care and was like, I ain't giving her nothing. Oh, well, you ain't giving her nothing and she ain't giving you nothing. Ain't nobody guaranteed, ain't nobody obligated to do nothing for free. Nobody. I don't care who you are. Nobody is obligated to give you anything for free. Ain't nothing free but salvation. Nothing. Now, if you want Jesus, glory, that's free. Everything outside of that gonna cost you. Everything outside of that gonna cost you. And salvation is only free because he paid for it. So I guess that ain't even free. It's just somebody else paid your cover charge. But anyway, moving right along. We get into, after all that happened with, Reggie and Oprah and Tyler and Lionsgate and them trying to make her do something for the free that was not, hey, Tootie talk sense, make her do stuff that wasn't in her contract for free. I guess she was supposed to do charity work all for $50K. I'm like, who the hell does that? Because it wouldn't be me. She went on to then tell Shannon that she feels like these people are morally bankrupt. I tend to agree. She then told Shannon, like, all them people that Kat told you about, interview them. And so he was like, well, I had already interviewed Steve. And she said, interview him again, call him back, bring him back. Okay. And basically put the onus on him because you say Steve is your friend. And so she pointed out, if my friend had been accused of doing something bad to someone, anyone, I would go to my friend. These are her words, not mine. She said she would go to her friend and say, friend, is this true? And she said if her friend went to him and Horn, then she would tell her friend, I can't fool with you. Do you get that straight? And that's right. Because if you will mess them over, my turn is next. Period. Okay. And then she shared a story about T.S. Madison and T.S. Madison interviewing her. And she talked about the situation with Lee Daniels and saying that she credits T.S. Madison with her and Lee Daniels being able to mend the fence. Okay. Yeah. Making people work for free is illegal. See, that's the thing, because it wasn't in a contract. If it was in a contract, they could have sued her. It ain't in the contract. They just felt like, well, we want you to, so just do it. Yeah, it is illegal. So they knew they couldn't make her do it. They tried to bully and pressure. And then after that, the retaliation was to lie on her. And that's never okay. But she credits T.S. Madison with her and Lee Daniels being able to mend fences because she was talking to T.S. Madison. I guess she did an interview with him and said that Lee Daniels was his friend. And so she was like, well, if that's your friend, you need to check your friend because this is what your friend did to me. And so T.S. Madison said, I will reach out to Lee Daniels, and did exactly that. And then Lee Daniels reached out to her and they fixed it. And he owned his part in what went wrong and made it right. And made it right. Okay. And I like that. And she said, because initially she never complained about the 50K that she was paid because she agreed to it. And I like that. You do what you agreed to do. You take what you agreed to take. And there's no need in crying foul later. That's why personally, the whole Diddy thing with them contracts and them people, I've never had any pity for them. Not 1 ounce. Not 1 ounce. Because you agreed to whatever they gave you. You agreed to it. Once you agree to something, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear it personally. Because who told you to sign that contract? So I like the fact that she was able to say, like, I never agreed. I never complained about that $50,000 because I agreed to it. I said, way to put on your big girl draws. Like it. But the free promo she wasn't doing. Everything she agreed to do for 50K, she did. Not one thing above that, because all you paid was 50K. So now Shannon Sharp asked about the blackballing and everything that went on after the Oscars, and pointed out the fact that normally, people win the Oscars and then there's usually like a run of movies after that. Like there was real revenue that this lady missed. And she talked about what happened with Empire, that she was supposed to be on there initially, and that they told her, well, we heard you was, a gentleman told us you were difficult to work with. And we know who the gentleman was, if a gentleman is what we can call him. And she pointed out the fact that no one ever said that about her prior to the incident with these people trying to get her to work for free. Which is interesting. And then she talked about a situation with Will Packer in a movie called Almost Christmas. Now, I didn't watch it. Y'all know I stay away from a lot of the, yes, the head Negro in charge. Hey, David, how are you? Yes. Welcome to you say Hollywood. Y'all be killing me with that Hollywood. I like it though. I be forgetting to say it though. It seems strange, like it don't roll off my tongue. But she, talked about a situation that she had with Will Packer. So she said, with the Almost Christmas situation, he asked her to do a cameo. Y'all know a cameo in a movie or a show is just like show your face one time, like you're literally just showing your face. Y'all, please remember to like this video, please. So that's what she agreed to do. Turned out that this David Talbert person, I forgot how she said. I think she said David Talbot. Was someone who was actually friends with her husband. They knew each other from college or whatever, who was actually directing the movie. So they kept stretching it out instead of it being the cameo that they originally agreed to. They negotiated a price for a cameo, and it was supposed to be just a cameo, no promo. She agreed to do no promo for the price that they quoted her, and a three picture deal and a sitcom after. So basically, Will Packer said to her, do this cameo for me. It'll be really great. You don't have to do any promo. And if you do this cameo, I'll give you 3 pictures, 3 movies, and a sitcom. And she said it's in writing. And glad she keeps everything, so she can prove about the people that be lying. So they kept stretching it out. Instead of it being just the cameo, they had her showing up 3 different appearances. They spread out her appearances through the movie. So now you paid for a cameo, but you keep expanding what you want from me for the same money. And she didn't really care for it, but she went along with it because David Talbert, I think is the name. Thank you, Jackie. Talbot, whoever, I don't know. David, the director, was somebody that they knew, so she didn't want to make things bad for him. So she kind of went along with stuff that she normally wouldn't have. And they kept stretching it out. So at that point, it was no longer a cameo. And that, a lot of things were not great. The food was slop. It wasn't fit to eat. And she said nobody was eating that stuff. That it just wasn't decent. It was just a bad situation all around. And apparently some young lady who was a friend to Will Packer, came to her trailer where she was in there with her assistant or whatever. Said it was a young girl too, like maybe in her 20s or so. And so Mo said her assistant was in her 50s and she's there on the computer. They're working. She has her shoes off. She's working. And said the lady walks in and was like, why are your shoes off? Like, you can check somebody old enough to be your mama. Like, oh no, they did well. So at that point, Monique was like, nah, get up out of here. Let me talk to Will. Send Will in here. You go. And I don't blame her because that little fresh tail heifer would have had to go too. I couldn't have dealt with her. So she sends her out. She said Will Packer comes in there and she's asking him like, who we got to talk to get to deal with her, because that right there, that ain't working. He tells her he the HNIC and everything stops with me. Monique says she was like, well, Danny Glover's here, and she went to naming off all the greats are here. Like, are you the head nigga in charge of all of them? And say he tried to laugh and play it off, but she was like, nah, but that ain't funny. So that kind of was that. And then she said the trailers actually blew up, that they smell gas. She said she smell gas. I'm sure other people did too. They reported it. Say when the people told Will Packer, he was like, okay, and walked off. Well, long story short, the trailers exploded. She says after this airs that she will be uploading or posting evidence of the exploded, kaboom trailers. And so said that the man never checked in on them, see if they were okay, never checked to see if they lost any property, any merchandise, anything valuable. He simply sent someone to ask what about the wigs that the character she was playing was wearing. Like, okay, do y'all still have the wigs? And she had to tell him the wigs blew up in the trailer. The wigs went kaboom in the trailer. But never checked on them, never, none of that. And I said, wow, we're exploding trailers now. This is what's going on. And just the fact that, if they consider difficult not, putting them in safe situations and not putting them in the best environment, or putting you in trailers that explode and no one even checks to see if you're okay, then she would rather not work with people who would do things like that. So that happened in this interview. Shannon pivoted right back to Tyler Perry and Oprah and what she wants. And I'm like, why do you keep pivoting back? I don't know. And she made it clear: accountability and compensation from Tyler and an apology from Oprah. And that's when she let it be known that she shared a lot of her personal info, personal backstory with Oprah, with the things that she went through with her brother doing what he did to her mama, their relationship. I don't know how it went. I don't want to speculate. That sounds very, terrible. Whatever it was. And so she feels like Oprah owes her an apology. But when it comes to Tyler, she needs accountability and a check because your lie cost her money. Um, Shannon Sharp, they got onto him and she was like, she had to address the fact that she was told you don't mess with black women. And so he was like, his granny told him never chase a lie. His children is black. They are. People say what they say because we know how he is, with them other people. Anyways, they got onto that, and then she starts talking about, what she went through. I don't even know how they threw that in there, but they did. And what she went through in her childhood, and he wanted to know like how that impacted her life, or how does she feel that impacted the way she lived her life. And she was like, when black women are traumatized, like we become guarded. And on top of being guarded, now you got a little money in the mix, I ain't got to watch my mouth. I got power now. Like, it's a feeling of power and being guarded. And she was like, the situations made her that way or whatever. And she talks about, her foray into promiscuity. And she called herself, saying that she was, being whorish or whatever. And the fact that her husband was her now husband, who was her former friend, I guess he was her husband by then, checked her on using her trauma as a crutch, told her she was using her trauma as a crutch. And, she gushes when she talks about her husband. I think that's cute. I was told way down in the Florida country that it's a sad frog that don't croak over his own pond. So I guess it's great. that she does croak over her husband. She says that him holding her accountable made her grow up. That everything he told her about using that as a crutch absolutely echoed the same sentiments as her psychiatrist. So I'm glad she got help. Um, she said she was on that path of that mindset of I don't need no man, that type of thing. And it was due to trauma. And I think a lot of ladies are in that place due to trauma. I think it's real, you know. Maybe that's a conversation the ladies should have one night, when we ain't got nothing better to do. But it would have to be a situation where the ladies are actually talking and not just listening to other people talk, in my opinion. The husband did not care about the body count, told her she was not a hoe. She just had a friendly coochie. And I said, okay, that's a healthy way of looking at it. And then went on to talk about the relationship with her daddy. And that's when I kind of understood, like, okay, her relationship with her husband is strange to me, but I can get how she got there. Because she said her relationship with her daddy was really good when she was tiny, but when she got bigger and started asking questions and wanting to understand some of the stuff her daddy was saying to her, the more she questioned things, the more she became the bad kid. Like, oh, now you're bad because you're questioning things. And that she wasn't really comfortable with how she saw him handling her mama. Like, he didn't hit her or nothing, but she was like, I guess emotional and verbal abuse or whatever like that. And she wasn't really cool with it. And she talked about an incident where she was trying to get a car, a little cheap car. I think she said a Ford Festiva. I didn't write that down, but I believe that's what she said. And said it was just, needed a couple of extra bucks and needed him to co-sign. And said he told her, you ain't finna mess up my credit. And then a week later went and completely signed for her sister. Not a co-sign, just signed it. And said she went to her granny and she was crying. And her granny told her that parents know which child is the weak link and which one is going to be okay. Now, y'all, I had a moment during that part of the interview. I had a moment. I had a flashback. I had a moment and a flashback. And I remember feeling that way at different times coming up. I did. Because I've always been, it's crazy because y'all going to be like, this heifer ain't telling the truth. I am, though. I've always been this girl. I didn't become this girl later. Like, this ain't a byproduct or nothing. I've always been this girl. Win, lose, or draw. And so there were instances where I felt like, and I think all kids do, you feel like your parents are favoring one child over you, or you feel like you being relegated to the background. And when she said that, like, I remember thinking back to that moment when my daddy signed for a car for my sister. And my first car, I had to go get it. 1976 Buick Century. Had it painted. It was sitting on Momos. Bench seats. I had Boom in the trunk. Yes, real Florida girl. Kitted and feet, driving a donk. My sister had one from the dealership that daddy signed for. And it was always little stuff like that. I was talking with Peanut the other day. Oh, not maybe about a week or so ago about the, I forgot how it came up about even with grades and stuff. Like, my sister could flunk. I got a C. And that was the first time I heard my mama say a cuss word. I thought I was going to die. Y'all, she said S-H-I, sugar honey iced tea. And my mother did not curse. So when she said it, I was like, death is coming. I was, death from above. I'm going to die. And I remember thinking, like, oh my God, like, why? And it wasn't until I got older, grown for show, to realize that what she said her grandmama told her is real. You know which one of your children are tough, which ones are weak. You know who gonna make it. You know who ain't. And it took that. And I remember even now, I remember hearing my daddy brag on me. And that was my claim to fame. Because I'm the baby. All of my siblings are older than me. The closest one to me in age is 7 years older than me. And that was the one I felt like was being coddled while I was getting a foot in my butt. Like, I was being held to a standard. Like, you don't do this, you will not do that, you will perform, you will get this done, you will, live a certain way. And I remember hearing my daddy brag on me and saying, "Oh, the baby gonna always be all right." And I had already had all my children by then when it finally clicked. Like, that's why, as much as my daddy adored me, they didn't really pet me like that. It wasn't a whole lot of pet. Hey, Lady T, thank you for being 141. And it clicked for me. Like, it started making sense. And then too, me watching my own children grow up and develop and become who they're going to be as adults, things started to click for me. Like, okay, that's real. They knew Nitra was going to be fine. I don't care if you strip me butt naked, drop me in the desert, Nitra going to be fine. Now, the other ones, maybe not so much. But I was like, oh, I felt her in that moment. I was like, oh, I can relate to this sister. I can. So anyway, I really was like, okay, I can dig you here. Oh no, Tootie say she at work crying. Listen, girl, get your tissue, fold it up like Candace Dillard Bassett in that triangle, dab your eye, and find a way to laugh. Make yourself laugh, girl. That's how I survive. Yep, when you're the responsible one, you feel the pressure to be perfect. You feel that pressure. I literally just had this conversation with my oldest, with my peanut. Y'all know I love my peanut. Maybe a couple nights ago, because she's still worried about her baby sister, because we're not out of the woods with that. We got her back, but she's still getting help. And I could tell baby had the weight of the world on her. Okay, now I need a crying. And we had to have one of those conversations that my parents didn't know to have with us. Like, I'm not one of those people that loves being a victim. Oh, you didn't do this with me. You didn't do that with me. I realized that our parents came from a different generation, and their focus was not on mental health. It was on survival. So we had to have a conversation that I wish that my parents were aware to have with me. And so I even said it to her, like, I wish somebody had told young me what I'm getting ready to tell you. And I told her the truth, y'all. Don't take this on your shoulders. Do not. You're young. You're beautiful. You got the whole world in front of you. You got your whole life ahead of you. Do not let anybody make you live your life so serious that you got to be perfect and everything is on your shoulders and everything is your bull crap. And I told her the truth. I don't care if it's me. If I get so sick that I can't look after myself and you feel like you got to take all that on your shoulders and you got to fight the world, put me in a home and I ain't going to hold it against you. Because nobody explained that to me. But I digress. Because y'all know I'm not a fan of public displays. But nobody told me that. Nobody. Okay. So that was just like, whew, child, that thing hit. It hit. I say, oh, I understand her now. I understand her now. I got her now. I never thought I would ever be able to identify on any level with Monique, but now I get you. I get you. So then moved on to the Netflix situation. And so she talked about what happened with the Netflix situation and the fact that she felt like they were trying to short her. And she talked about Amy Schumer, who ain't never been funny. She just funny looking. And that Netflix offered Amy Schumer $11 million. And Amy Schumer said, well, I'm not a legend or an icon, but I feel like I should at least get 13. And they gave it to her. So Monique wasn't going to let them lowball her, and I don't blame her. And so she fought for her money, and she called out the discrimination in it because she said Netflix came to her and said, you are a legend, you're an icon. So if this girl can tell you out her own mouth she ain't no legend or icon, and you can give her $13 million, why in the entire hell would you come to somebody acknowledging that they are a legend and an icon, and then offer her less money. It sounds discriminatory to me, because what the hell are you basing it on? So they went through that, and but and then of course they came to a settlement. She did the special. Sister got her coin. Shout out to you, Miss Monique. And then she talked about Charlemagne, Charlotta, and Beige Rage, DJ Envy, sitting up calling her the donkey of the day for standing up for herself and demanding what she's worth, and had people call in to drag her. And like she said, after the settlement was done, they moved past it, ain't apologized, ain't try to fix it, and nothing else. I said, wow. I vaguely remember that. I don't remember it well, but I vaguely remember it. I think those were the days I was getting up early driving them children to school. And I think I remember hearing something like that, but don't hold me to it. I want to believe that. That I remember something like that. Them making her the donkey of the day. That's horrible. And see, that's what I mean when I say being on the wrong side of history. Because that stuff doesn't age well. It doesn't. But they did it. It happened. She spoke on it, and it will always be remembered. So Shannon asked her about, the community calling her auntie, and and she mentioned like, yeah, and they call you Unc, and he asked her how she feels about it, and she said she feels honored to be called auntie. And I agree. I have lived long enough to be called Annie. And for some of my more proper nieces and nephews, auntie and auntie. I'm with her on that one. It is an honor. And you literally are in a position of an elder at that point. And I think we have to carry ourselves as elders in a way that I feel, this is just me. I feel like we should be relatable, but we should always make sure that there's a level of respect that's there from us to our younger ones, so that they'll feel that same way back to us. You can't demand respect when you don't give it. And she was like, she feels responsible to talk up about certain things. That's where the whole bonnet situation, everything comes from. And that's real. I thought that was so wonderful. So wonderful. Ray bringing it in, boy. I can't put that on the screen because we can't say that on YouTube. But you're right, Ray. Tootie say yes, they did, and that's when Monique went on the Breakfast Club and called Charla by his real name and said Leonard. That's right. Yes, she did. Jackie say every one of the people she named in that interview are now being exposed. Master getting ready to pull them by the nose ring. Ooh. Yes, Lord. But yeah. And she mentioned Miss Sylvia Traymore and how she was the first Black lady writer on Saturday Night Live, and that they relegated her to the position of production assistant and didn't even pay her for her work like that. And the fact that that's why she talks up and why she won't be quiet for ladies like that. And she even mentioned some of them great aunties that inspired us. And I love the fact that she gave a shout out to Moms Mabley. Shout out to Moms Mabley. R.I.P. Rest in paradise, sister. Rest in heaven. Eartha Kitt. Them ladies that, spoke up for Fannie Lou Hamer, those were the aunties. Hell, Esther Rowe. People underrate her all the time. Esther Rowe was a class act, and she exuded class. And ladies like that set an example. And I think now I honestly feel like we don't really have enough ladies who set that example. They after that just got real playful, lighthearted. They talked about the dating stuff with Shannon. She said Shannon need him an old heifer. She know a lady by the name of Ella Dora that make a good red velvet cake, but she ain't got no teethis. Say stay away from them young girls because he can't hang. They talked about the relationships and stuff, and how she says, and I can only say she says because I don't know. But she says she feels as though Black women are trained to go against Black men. I put in my notes, I don't know that. I was not trained to do that. I didn't have a reason to do that. You know, the Black men in my life were very much my protectors, and I realized that I was blessed. And I'm not taking it for granted. I'm not one of those people because I had a great situation. I'm going to sit up and say everybody did. I will say, being fair, a lot of our ladies may have been in situations or environments that taught them to be combative against Black men because of very good reasons. If the Black men around them did not give them anything to respect and were not their protectors, they were indeed predators and a danger to them. It only stands to reason that your instinct would be to protect yourself and to be combative with someone who is likely a combatant. I think that was oversimplified. I understand what she was trying to say. I just think it's oversimplified, and I think making statements like that can be a little dangerous because we don't want to. I would not want any of us to paint the picture that our young ladies are just being combative against Black men for no reason. Like mothers are sitting up running, killer Negro training camps in their houses. We're not doing that. I think what happens more times than not in our community is that more times than not, the Black males who are in the vicinity that our girls may interact with are indeed a threat, are indeed meaning them no good. More than likely are not in a position to provide and protect, more than likely will never be. And so then the girls are being taught to be guarded, protect yourself, do not trust them. This man probably ain't worth a plug nickel. If you pop him, you probably are going to have to send his mama a bill for the bullet. So I don't like the idea of oversimplifying that. I understand she found a great man now and they're happy, but it's not cool to oversimplify because the ladies who are being combative and fighting against these men are not doing so for fun. They're doing it because it's a means of living, because we all know Black femicide rates. Okay. So I thought that was oversimplified, but I got where she was trying to go. And I know she's elated about her, her man. He asked her about that stupid statement Shaq made about opening up to women because they're going to use it against you. She said, how do you listen to a man who ain't got no woman? And, you go through things. Who the hell are you going to open up to? You're going to call your homeboys. And then she circled back around to Oprah and said that when Oprah goes through things, Oprah says that she can call Gail and Gail calms her down. Not her man, not Stedman, who lives in the pool house. She calls Gail. Mm-hmm. She talked about her marriages. She said the first one was because you just not gonna get the milk for free, and it was Friday night fights. They was around there beating the hell out of each other. She said the second time she got married because she was hungry, she needed some money, and this one she says is her first real marriage. And she ended this very interesting, entertaining, informative interview by saying that Cat Williams is her spiritual fraternal twin, and that he don't even know it yet, but she wants Shannon Sharp to tell him. So that's what happened in this interview, y'all. That's what happened. It was a lot, but that's what took place. And I don't know if any of y'all want to have something to say. I absolutely want to hear it. I absolutely want to hear it. I do. I want to hear what you got to say. I do. I don't know if anybody wants to say anything. I'm going to drop the StreamYard so that I can get a few more comments from you guys and give you some information. So if anybody grabs it, then I'll hear from you. But the information I want to shoot out there while I'm waiting to see if anybody has anything to say and waiting for more comments. Let me see what Tootie say. Tootie say, yes. That's the one part of the interview that I disagreed with her with, because I wasn't raised to combat Black men, not by my mom or my grandmother or aunties. Yeah, and my daddy either. But my daddy was the first one told me, don't trust these Negroes. Okay. And if Phil said it is true, argue with your mama. Phil said don't trust them. So that's that. Okay. But let me tell y'all what else going on. So I'm gonna say 9.8 times out of 10. Ooh, Lala say Gail is Oprah's man. Jesus. So 9.9 times out of 10, I'm going to end up coming back. And I'm going to tell y'all why I'm going to end up coming back, okay? Because things are happening. There are things that we need to address. We got to address Armand Wiggins. Him and his teeth, we got the dragon. We still ain't covered Mariah and Carlos King part 2 of that interview. Travis Kelce saved himself from Columbus and that fade. So I want to deal with that. South Carolina and Ole Miss had a real soul sister moment on the court. I wanted to address that. Odell Beckham is digging around in two sisters. We got to deal with that. And Tucker Carlson done made me proud. So it's some things that we need to cover. So chances are, I'm going to try not to bother y'all too much, but chances are I'm going to be back. I'm just say that. It's a very good chance that sis is going to be back. Okay. So yeah, we got to handle it. You can't wait till I address Armand. Yeah, we got to. First of all, the fact that you got me agreeing with Claudia Clawfoot Jordan. Oh no. We gonna address that. That was all the way out of line and out of pocket. So we got to address that. Sure do. Yes, we do. Vita say go eat. You know what, Vita? I ain't ate nothing all day. I want to drink more than I want something to eat, but I ain't ate nothing all day. I mean nothing. Nothing at all. Not a crumb. So I need to go eat something, okay? But I had fun with y'all. I did. Even though I was in my notebook and I was giving y'all the notes and what happened and what I thought about it and whatever, yada, yada, yada. But I'm going to try to be back because we got so much to address. Like, things are happening and I'm almost afraid to look on social media because I feel like more things are going to happen still. Like, I'm afraid of what else is going to happen. Like, I just don't even want to look, but I know I got to look because it's my job to look, but I don't want to look. You see, I'm looking over there. I'm looking back. Like, I want to look, but I don't. So I got to go eat something because it is like going on 6 o'clock in the evening. I do have a little bit of a hungry headache, like right here. And I've not eaten a thing. I've not. So I'm going to let y'all go since ain't nobody got nothing to say. Okay. So you know what I'm about to tell y'all. If in fact you did not hit the like button on the way in, please make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Hit your notification bell. Make sure you click all so you will know every time we go live on this good channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed because we'd love to have you here. And if you want to put on your crown, hit the join button beneath the video or the membership link in the description box. Also in the description box is the link for our Royal Family merchandise store so you can get your crown here in our classic black and gold or our new emerald crown design. We've also got the link for the Amazon storefront so we can all shop together. And for my wish list in case you want to send me some snacks, okay? So look, like I said, I'm going to try to be back, all right? Y'all enjoy the rest of your afternoon or until I talk to you again. And remember, if no one else says it to you, always, God loves you, I love you, and it ain't nothing you can do about it. I'll talk to y'all later, okay? Bye.